Hello and welcome, strangers on the internet, to my first story time. My name's Jackson. Let's begin. This story begins on our trip to the Grand Canyon, which just shows you how boring Arizona is when our biggest landmark is a giant ditch. I'm kidding, it was cool to see, but as anyone who's lived in Arizona knows, we would be better off known as the Sunburn State. The 3-hour drive didn't make that ditch feel any more desirable. We had been driving for 2 hours before we asked, "How much longer?" And the adults in the car responded, 10 more minutes. And 10 more minutes had come and gone before we asked again, and they responded, 10 more minutes, over and over again until we had been in the car for an hour, which was very frustrating. And by the fourth 10 more minutes, let's just say we were all pretty annoyed. But anyway, we had been in the car for hours and were ready to get to the motel. Finally, we did, but once we got there, my family said the place looked pretty dingy. I didn't really notice at the time, but now thinking back, it wasn't that nice looking. So my family went to check us in and met a very annoyed lady sitting there. After the lady checked us in, she said we were staying in the other building they had. And when we looked at it, I kid you not, it looked even worse than the first one. And there were no workers there except for the front desk lady, and like I said before, she was very rude. And when we checked their reviews later, they all said how kind and welcoming the staff was. So I'm not sure if we just picked the worst weekend when everyone was in a bad mood, but I digress. We walked into the building, and the hallways were pretty dingy. I know I'm using dingy a lot, but that's like the only word to use to describe this place. And it smelled disgusting. I mean, very bad. And as we were making our way through the hallways to our rooms, my aunt leans over to my mom and whispers that the building smells like marijuana, which made me start freaking out. And all I was going through my mind was, they're trying to drug us! I was an innocent. What can I say? I would like to mention something. Our room was on the second floor, and they had no elevator, so we had to carry our suitcases up the stairs, which was enjoyable. But we finally made it to our rooms, just to discover blood. Every room my family had drips of blood on the walls, and the curtains. And if you thought that was bad, there was green sludge on the walls and the ceiling. And just so you guys know, these rooms had bunk beds, which were right underneath the green stuff. It was so bad my little sister didn't want to sleep in it, and neither did I because, yuck. And we stayed there. To be fair, the beds appeared clean and there wasn't anything on the sheets, but we didn't have one of those blacklight things, so who's to be sure. But we made it work until the morning when we packed up and said, well, see ya never, and went home. Side note, this is the trip that I first read the book, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, which I highly recommend. Sorry if it was a little anticlimactic. Just hold on for part 2, and I'll see you later. Bye.